Hey, Sean, there are two simple tricks to making sure that you never have to deal with a bad client or a bad project. One, be honest. And two, honestly, don't want the project. If you go into a project and you think, oh, okay, that's good advice. I'll pretend, okay, yeah, I'm saying no to this project. It's not something you can pretend. You truly have to believe that you don't want the project. And you only do that when you don't actually want the project. This is the kind of thing where you need to think in your head, not only do I not want the project, but I'm not going to get the money from that project. I'm not going to start thinking, oh, 10 grand would be a lot for, I could do. No, you know you're not going to do this project, and have that be your attitude going in. Because a client relationship is just like any other kind of relationship. And if you beg someone to go on a date with you and they agree, even if they do agree to go on that date, that is not going to be a good date for two reasons. One, you begged them and they didn't want to in the first place. And two, even if they agreed, the dynamic of you being like them doing you a favor of like, okay, I'll do this. I'll spend this time with you. That dynamic never goes away and that relationship never lasts. It's the same with professional relationships, because if you beg someone for an opportunity, they may say, oh, okay, fine. Yeah, you can. I always use video for my examples, but okay, you can do this little video for our social media and then maybe we'll do something with a bigger video later. That project is never going to pay you what you need to be paid. That relationship is never going to convert into something where they love your work and you won them over. No, you've established by agreeing to bad terms that you are somehow unworthy of their full attention, and you will put yourself in a situation where you are doing work for a client that will never appreciate you and that you will never fully enjoy working for because they don't appreciate you. Like any relationship, if somebody says, okay, yeah, I'll go out on a date with you, but I want you to pay for everything. And then you get to the date and then they pick the most expensive thing on the menu. That's not a good relationship. And similarly, if somebody says, okay, I'll go on a date with you. I get off work at 7:30, be there waiting to pick me up at 7:30. And you get there, you're waiting at 7:30, and then they're 20 minutes late. That's not going to be a good relationship. These things, it's easy to see when you think about your high school relationships or wherever you are in your life. Those are two things that happen in professional relationships all the time of where, hey, here's the project. We agreed to $5,000. Good, great. And then all of a sudden they add something and say, actually, we're going to add two more people, or we're going to extend that day will go till 8 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock. And you're not in a spot where you can say, okay, well, it's not 5,000 anymore. It's going to be 6,000. They say, no, that's not what we agreed to. That's happened to me a lot. I'm sure if you've been doing this for any length of time, that's happened to you. But if you come off desperate in the beginning and you agree to that, that's going to be the dynamic for the duration of the relationship, which probably won't be that long. And same with being late. If you work with a client who's like, hey, we need everything delivered by November 1st, and then they don't provide any feedback for a month, they don't give you the comments, they don't send you the files you need to finish something for weeks. These things happen all the time, and it's such a sign of disrespect. And it's not necessarily their fault because you came in willing to do the job at any cost, and you didn't stand up for yourself and say, this is what I'm expected to do. This is what you're expected to do. Let's do this together. And if you think about a movie, or if you're lucky, real life, a meet cute, that's the right relationship. That's the way to meet someone. That's the way to start a relationship where two people are walking, they bump into each other, and one of them drops all their papers and books. And while they both together bend down to pick them up, one of them notices, oh, hey, you're reading this book. I'm reading this book too. I love these books. And then they get married and have kids. That's how good professional relationships should work too. You should find someone who is doing things in an industry that you care about, maybe an industry that you've already been doing some work in because it matters to you. And then they see that, oh, you've done work in our industry, you're passionate about this, and we love the work that you've done before. Then you've got a strong footing and a mutual respect for, I like the work that you're doing and I would like to do creative work for that. And you appreciate my creative work enough to bring me in. That's a good foundation. And from there, you can work together on all the things and go Dutch with the check and meet in the middle for, even though our budget's not that big, we respect your time and your team enough to know that we're going to not overstretch that. And even if this project has a reduced budget, We're going to make some boundaries and make sure that we can, make things work within the confines of those budget and not overextend yourself to try to do this for us and be upset with you if something goes awry. That's what a good relationship should be. And a lot of times that happens when you're introduced by friends in real life. A good friend can make a good connection. A bad friend, maybe not so much. Same is true in professional relationships. If you're introduced by someone of, hey, you should do work with so-and-so, and you get introduced and you're like, hey, oh yeah, they know both of us. They know the work you do. They know the work that I do. Maybe we should talk a little bit. That's good. And go in with an open mind, but don't go in desperate of like, oh yes, they said you're great. So yeah, whatever, I'll do anything. Bad personal relationship, bad professional relationship. And I'll leave you with this. With regard to honesty, there's going to be things that come up in these relationships, just like in your relationships. If somebody says like, oh, I always wanted to go skydiving, and you say, oh, I always wanted to go skydiving too. When you guys get in that plane and they find out that you don't want to go skydiving, that's going to be a problem. And the same thing happens in professional relationships when they say, oh, we're doing a shoot and we want to do a whole bunch of stuff with cars, or we want to do this kind of feel to something. And you've never done it before, but you say, oh yeah, that's no problem. That's no problem. We'll do that. When you get to that shoot and you don't deliver what they were expecting because you've never done it, that disconnect is going to cause problems in your relationship, just like it would on a personal relationship. It will in the professional relationship. But being honest and saying, hey, I don't know about skydiving. I've never had the urge to go skydiving, but maybe if you really wanted to, I would consider it. But be patient with me because I might be a little hesitant when it comes time to jump out of the plane. That honesty goes such a long way in a professional relationship. And when I'm putting projects together and putting bids together, being open with someone about like, oh, hey, you want to do stuff with a moving car? I've done some stuff with a moving car. We've done it at a slower pace and I've stood on my one wheel and filmed it and it looks good. Here's the shots that I've done. If that works, cool. If it's something bigger where we need to mount a camera in a car and chase you down the highway, we haven't done that, but I know where we could look to get it done. And I know some people who have done it that we could bring in for that piece of it. That honesty goes such a long way to having a good relationship and having good expectations for what you can create, and also for expanding the budget if you need to, for them to say, oh, if we're gonna have to bring in other people to do this crazy car shot, I understand that that's gonna cost a little bit more. That honesty is what creates the opportunity for that dialogue, which creates the opportunity for a healthy relationship where you're respected, your work is respected, and their work is completed on a good budget with good people. So be honest and don't go into it overly desperate. And I will share this tiny piece from my personal life that I don't often share. But my relationship with my wife, whom I met a little over 10 years ago now, I made this decision when we first started dating that I wasn't, let me be careful with this. It's not that I wasn't going to try hard, but I was going to make sure that I was always authentically myself and that I didn't hide a part of myself that she would find out about later and potentially dislike. And the example that I give is that when we were first dating, like a couple months in, I was writing rap music, which if you're unfamiliar with my channel, hey, welcome. I'm a mental vending machine shot. But I was writing a rap lyric, and when I write rap lyrics, it tends to be satirical and over the top. And I shared a very inappropriate lyric with her, the kind of thing that I would only share with a select few of my other friends. But I put it out there, and it was in a text message that I sent to her. And she responded positively and then continued to date me after that. And it was this feeling of relief of like, oh, if you're on board with that, we're going to be fine. And to my credit, here I am talking to a camera in my basement 10 years later, and I have all of her support to do this. And I think if I had been any fraction of myself going into it, I could have created a situation where as I attempt things and try things and embarrass myself and continue to do all the things that I love to do, if she wasn't excited and on board with that, it would have caused serious problems for me now because there'd be eye rolling and there'd be tension in the relationship, and there isn't because we have been open and honest with each other, just as I try to do with my clients as well. That is all I got. If this was helpful to you, I haven't talked about this, I think, since I announced it, but I made a class on how to run a creative business that goes through all the legal things, the documents, the permits, the insurance, how to bid, how to build a portfolio and a website. And it's not about video, it's about anything. I didn't go into how to make videos. It's about how to structure your creative business to let you do your work in a sustainable, successful way without selling your soul. And without having to give up doing the actual work so that you have to start managing people who are doing it for you. It's how to grow and sustain a creative business that's true to you and enjoyable for you. So if you're interested in that, I'll put links in the description. Either way, thank you so much for watching this. I appreciate if you made it this far. I am beyond grateful, and it means the world to me that you would spend any amount of your time with me, let alone all of this. That's all I got. Have a great day or night or whatever, wherever. See you later. Bye.
On my damn vacation, first thing first, I'm over 30, take a break run. Avert your ears, face your fears, and picture me naked. No clothes, no holds barred, Captain Picard on the Enterprise. 29 years old, the fuck, the coldest air is centralized. So why can't you do what I do without even trying? Fresh chords, ignore scores, and fast testifying. Your envious eyeing from the back of the room, pity party, entrepreneur, lady, mini darty, and your charm thoughts. I got words in the hopper, Dennis Hopper, Dennis the Menace proper, showstopper, boot knocker, back blocker, time chopper. I'm a mentor, vending machine shopper. Just call me the rockcaster, the master of catastrophe. I'll last so long that these women grow tired of me. Faster, faster, get plastic if you drink with me. Forget your first name because I'm minded so absently. Girl, and you go too far 'cause you know